Chari Yamuna Tira Panachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janababa Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachariyam Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Jayom Vishnu Par Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Stotar Satashri Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Srila Prabhupada ki Shri Shri Kodanatai Mayapur Shashi ki Shri Shri Tulsinatha ki Jai Shri Karuna Bhavan ki Jai Transcendental Book Distribution ki Jai Hari Nama Sankirtanam ki Jai Gaura Premanande, oh, glorious to the assembled devotees, oh, glorious to Sri Guru and Gauranga, glorious to Sri Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namani. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pachadine, Nivasesha Sanyavadi Paschachate Shatarine. Hare Krishna. I take it that we read from this little book. Is that what we do? It's placed here. Not the full Lilamrita, just this one. Pardon? Oh, okay. And anything else which we read from? Our family business, right? Huh? During the marathon, okay. Hare Krishna. We just begin reading? We just start reading? Yeah. Huh? Okay. Hare Krishna. Welcome everybody. On this sunny morning, Friday the 13th. Auspicious day, Friday the 13th of May, correct? And we're reading from here at Karuna Bhavan in Scotland. We're reading from Planting the Seed. It's a very nice book also by Giri Raj Maharaj, Watering the Seed, huh? Is that right? Pardon? Watering the Seed, you haven't seen it? You see it? Yeah, it's nice to read from too. Also, Giri Raj Maharaj book on I'll Build You a Temple. Have you got that one? I'll Build You a Temple. You really have to read it. It's fantastic. It's the interaction with Srila Prabhupada in Juhu. Really, it goes beyond the sort of little bits you hear on the surface, you know. Takes you deep inside the relationship with the pure devotee of the Lord. I've got an upcoming book called Watering the Weed. So we're reading here summary of Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. On Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so it's today, Friday evening, there will be the evening kirtan. Jai. Some of the devotees would already be downstairs greeting guests and explaining about the Swami and the chanting. But without the Swami, nothing could begin. No one knew how to play the drum. So where are we? You probably know where we are. I mean, we know where we are. In this particular pastime, nobody could play the drum. So where are we? Are we in Scotland? I mean, you could say, yeah, we're in Scotland, in Karuna Bhavan. But in the Prabhupada Lilamrita, where are we? 26 Second Avenue. Where's that? Is that a suburb in Glasgow? It's in East Kilbride, isn't it? That's where all the posh people live, isn't it? East Kilbride. So, where were we? New York. New York, not Old York. Okay. Sheesh is from old York. And no one dared think of leading the mantra chanting without Swamiji. They just didn't know pretty much anything. Only when he entered at 7 o'clock would they begin. Freshly showered and dressed in his clean Indian hand-woven cloth, his arms and body decorated with the arrow-like Vaishnav markings, Swamiji would leave his apartment and go downstairs to face another ecstatic opportunity to glorify Krishna. The tiny temple would be crowded with wild, unbrahminical, candid young Americans. So what do you get from that little paragraph? What have you learned? What have you learned? Anything? Yes, Matters. We can glorify Krishna everywhere. Good. Very good one. Well, it says here, it says, Prabhupada would go down, leave his apartment, and go downstairs to face another ecstatic opportunity to glorify Krishna. Another one. That's how Prabhupada would see it. It wasn't like, I'm going to give a class tonight and, and impress everybody. Right? Well, think we're going to impress everybody. Entertain everyone. Maybe if I speak nicely, they'll give me a donation. Prabhupada sees these as simply an opportunity to glorify Krishna. So that's the nature of a devotee. He doesn't see this. He sees every opportunity, really, as an opportunity to glorify Krishna. As Mata said, anywhere. Wherever Prabhupada would turn every situation into an opportunity. There's no such thing as a situation where there's no opportunity to glorify Krishna. Well, there's one place. Where's that? Where there's, well, I suppose you don't know, but nothing's impossible. But generally speaking, there's one place where there's no opportunity to glorify Krishna. Where's that? There's one place where there's not really an opportunity to glorify Krishna. Where's that? Huh? In the where? In the toilet. No, you can do it there. That's no problem. Prabhupada even writes, even in the toilet, you should chant Hare Krishna. There's that pastime of a Krishna Pandit. We won't mention it, but how he said, why? Lord, sometimes it says Lord Chaitanya, just part of pastime, was holding his tongue. Did Lord Chaitanya go to the toilet? We never hear such pastimes. But anyway, he said, he was holding his tongue. Not Krishna, it's Gopal Guru. Gopal, young boy. He said, why are you holding your tongue? I'm going to the toilet. I said, what does it mean? You should chant everywhere, even in the toilet. What happens if you die in the toilet and you're holding your tongue? You chant everywhere. Prabhupada writes it many occasions. You should chant when you're sleeping, eating, when you're in the bathroom, when you're in the toilet, everywhere. There's no, not you. Someone's going to be standing outside the toilet to beat you if you don't chant when you're in the toilet. It's the point is you can chant anywhere. Okay, so you can glorify Krishna anywhere. There's one place. Where's that? Huh? In the ether? Ego? Igor? So I think my hearing is disappearing. Ego, false ego. False ego? Well, if you've got a big false ego, you may not chant. But you can still chant, even if you've got a big false ego. I'm chanting. Sometimes, I don't know, offensive be it as it may, but you can chant. Oops. Underwater, you better chant if you're underwater. Most important place to chant of all, because it might be your last chance. In the womb, it's even said that the soul, it's not necessarily every soul, by the way, but the soul in the womb often is praying to Krishna, please, I promise that if you let me out of this hellish place, I will worship you, I will sing your names or whatever. No, you can chant here in the womb, not necessarily every situation, but it's possible. At the back there. Whew. Incredible, huh? Couldn't chant there in the Brahmajyoti. Maybe we should find out a way to take a Sankirtan party to the Brahmajyoti. They really need it up there, wherever they are. They can't chant. You see that some people are such an offensive mentality, they just can't chant. And then, of course, in the actual realized Brahman, there is no chanting of Krishna's name going on there. Right? You were there. You were there. Huh? Boring. Very boring, yeah. There's no mobiles there either, by the way. The Brahman. Merge into the Brahmajyoti. What else do you learn from this? Purport. Anything else? Excuse me? Oh, okay. That's an interesting one. Nobody could play the madunga, so it's good that you learn. I see. Where's Pip? There he is. He plays the harmonium real nice, huh? Did you know how to play keyboards or something before you came? You're a musician, are you? You play madunga? You're learning. Yeah, so if you have musical talent especially, it's very important to learn instruments. And even if you don't have, you can still learn basics. Yes, musical instruments, this movement is based upon this principle of singing, dancing, musical instruments. Huh? These are the three main throngs of kirtan: singing, dancing, and musical instruments. Dancing is also important, very important part of kirtan. We were watching people dancing around in here this morning from outside there. As we didn't know what was going on, you'd wonder, are these people, I think they've got some problems. Anything else? So, yes, learn musical instruments. Anything else? Okay, that's kind of like you could say, what do we say? Call that I don't know what you call that. But that's one aspect you could say, how Prabhupada was mixing with young people, but specifically, which is certainly something you can learn from this pastime, but specifically from this particular paragraph. Okay, that's another, you could say, general perspective on the situation. Nobody at all is unqualified to take to Krishna consciousness. Okay, what else? Huh? Pada, yes, pada.
It mentioned unbrahminical people.
Unbrahminical.
And they're qualified as well.
Did it mention that, did it? Yes. Oh, yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Usually it's the last line that you catch. There's the last line I didn't catch. The tiny temple will be crowded with wild, unbrahminical, candid young Americans. Now, nobody here have a clue what all that means. You're so Brahminical, you don't even know what it is to be wild and unbrahminical. Yes, crowded. And Prabhupada is coming right in the middle of there, as Prabhupada said, associating with these young people and glorifying Krishna in the midst of all these young people. It's also interesting that although at this stage we could say it's understandable that nobody was, in a position to lead or be so bold or even audacious to think of leading the kirtan, or to speak of playing musical instruments. They were completely dependent upon the Swami for their spiritual, like babies. Right? If you have a baby is absolutely dependent upon the parent, isn't it? Can't do a thing without the parent, practically speaking, except for cry. So they're like more or less, and actually at every stage, it may not be that we're acting like a baby, but that mood of complete dependence upon the Swami or upon the pure devotee of the Lord should always be there. We can't do anything of any value without their mercy. Your mercy is all that I am made of. There's one bhajan we sing. Your mercy is all that I am made of. So that's showing how much important it is to keep the Acharya in the center of our lives, because we can't do anything without his mercy. And our Prabhupada he would always be fresh. He wouldn't, he'd always make sure he was freshly dressed, clean, nice tilak, like that when he would come into the association, like this when he'd come down to give the class. Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading text 41. I guess it's up on the screen. Is that right? Yes. So all together. Tataha Gunevyaha Atmanam Viyuja Atmasamadina Yuje Bhagavattamhi Brahmi Anubhav Atmani Tato Gunevyaatmanam Viyujatma Samadhina Yuje Bhagavattamhi Brahmanyanubhavatmani Tato Gunevyaatmanam Viyujatma Samadhina Yuje Bhagavattamhi Brahmanyanubhavatmani Tato Gunevyaatmanam Viyujatma Samadhina Yuje Bhagavattamhi Brahmanyanubhavatmani Tataha. Thereafter. Gunevyaha. From the modes of material nature. Atmanam. The mind. Viyuja. Detaching. Atma Samadhina. By being fully engaged in devotional service. Yuje. Engaged.
Bhagavad
in the form of the Lord.
in the form of the Lord.
Brahmani,
Brahmani,
which is Paramaman,
Sarvamana,
and not idol worship.
not idol worship.
Anubhava Atmani,
Anubhava,
which is always thought of,
which is always thought of,
beginning from the lotus feet
beginning from the street,
and gradually progressing upward.
gradually progressing upward.
This chapter 6, Canto, chapter 2, text 42, is Prajamyo, delivered by the Vishnu Dutas. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. You better be attentive because we might ask some questions at the end of the purport. Ajamyo fully engaged in devotional service. Thus he detached his mind from the process of sense gratification and became fully absorbed in thinking of the form of the Lord. Purport. If one worships a deity in the temple, one's mind will naturally be absorbed in thought of the Lord and his form. It's complicated when you wear glasses. There is no distinction between the form of the Lord and the Lord himself. Therefore, Bhakti Yoga is the most easy system of yoga. Yogis try to concentrate their minds upon the form of the Super Soul, Vishnu, within the heart, but this same objective is easily achieved when one's mind is absorbed in the deity worshipped in the temple. In every temple there is a transcendental form of the Lord. One may very easily think of this form. By seeing the Lord during Arti, by offering Bhoga, and by constantly thinking of the form of the deity, one becomes a first-class yogi. This is the best process of yoga, as confirmed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the Bhagavad Gita 6:47.
Yoginam sarvesham madhyadena taratmana tatamavajate yomam samyuktatamo mata.
How you all learned that first, did you? Good. Huh? Oh. Cheating, eh? It's on the screen. I was so funny, I was going to think of it, but it's so fluently chatting that. Oh, the purple tail. Oh, that's broken fun, hasn't it? This is not so much fun. We didn't even have books. In the earlier years, we only had one copy of the Bhagavatam in the whole temple. That was the class. No one had their own Bhagavatams. None. Bhagavad Gita maybe one or two other copies, but not many either. And only the abridged version, by the way. The full one came out in 72. Otherwise, there's this little one. I don't know if you've ever seen it, little purple colored, little abridged version. Reprinted dozens of times. The original one was a little paperback purple one, black. Bhagavad Gita as it is, it was only abridged, just like the Lilamrita here, abridged version. But that was all we had. And if you didn't listen to the class, that was your only time for hearing. There were one or two books around which you could read, mostly small books. There were one or two Krishna books around. But there was nothing else to read. If you didn't come to class, you didn't hear. Makes sense? I mean, you heard the person talking to each other a lot about Krishna. But if you didn't hear the class, you didn't get that, Ishopan. Plus, as you know, in those days there were 5 classes a day. Every day. We have Ishopanishad class, Nectar Devotion class, Bhagavatam class, Bhagavad Gita class, Songbook class, and Krishna book reading every day. Communal. And it was more or less never saw any kind of enforcement. It was more or less understood that everybody attended the whole thing. It wasn't like, no, I don't feel like it. More or less the whole thing. Unless you're on water or something. So that's how you heard, by attentive hearing, you realize. Realization of Krishna consciousness is not mechanical, by the attentive or by the surrendering. Surrendering to the process, surrendering to Krishna, basically. Hearing the sound of the holy name, hearing the Bhagavatam. This is the process of realization, of sort of learning, or being able to do something. Being able to be conscious of Krishna in everything. Does not that verse in the Bible reads, does not Saveshu Kalishu Ramanus Nayujicha Manapitamanobhya Mami Vaishishi Samshayaha. Where Krishna says, well, in all your activities, be conscious of me. The mind and intelligence fixed on me, your activities dedicated to me will attain me without a doubt. So this consciousness is also to be taken into account. All of our activities are all good if they're bona fide, authorized activities. But also to develop the consciousness, the awareness, what is it we're doing all this for? What's the goal of this? What's the proper attitude in which we work? The attitude. So it's not just even meditating on the form of the Lord is objective goal, you could say, of Bhagavad Gita, but still, some people non-devotionally, those on a non-devotional path, they also meditate on the super soul, but for another purpose. Sometimes we chant Hare Krishna, sometimes, and we don't necessarily always have the right objective goal in mind. It may be mechanical, which is okay, not be directly offensive, but sometimes it's for material reasons. Sometimes it's for liberation. In the beginning, that may be there because that's probably what we're searching for, relief or achievement within our lives. But pure devotional service, does one ask for anything in return? Does one ask for anything in return? Yes or no? Not of a material nature. Or maybe begging for, let's say, the opportunity for awakening pure devotional service in our hearts, even if you're on that platform, you still feel it or not. So it doesn't. Pure devotional service is free of any other objective other than pleasing Krishna. There's only one, to please Krishna. Cultivating Anukulina. Anukulina means favor. That which pleases Krishna, Anukulina Krishna. It's the process of not just doing all the activities we do are, no doubt, they're limbs of devotional service. They're accepted if we're not on a pure conscious platform. They're accepted as stages of pure devotional service. We normally call it gradually create stage. Although there's still anarthas in our mind, and still motivations, still being affected by the motivations. Whereas pure devotional service is not. It's unmotivated, uninterrupted, without any other desire than pleasing Krishna's senses. Whether you're directly meditating on his form or not, that's natural. It's like a mother who loves her child is always thinking of how to please her child constantly. That's devotional service, always thinking of the pleasure of the person. And so here, of all yogas, because that's what Bhakti Yoga is in one sense. Krishnendra is to please the senses of Krishna. So Prabhupada quotes this verse which you see on the board. It's almost like you don't have to read it, you can just read it yourself. Of all yogas, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga, and is the highest of all. Or always abides in me with great faith,
How would that be understood? What does that mean? What does it mean? Always abides in me with great faith. Literally, it might be a little strange. What does it mean in terms of our devotion or our aspirations? What does it mean? To abide in Krishna with great faith.
And to take shelter in Krishna in all circumstances.
Yeah, in all circumstances, we turn to Krishna. We have no other shelter. One time Prabhupada described humility. I can't remember word for word, but I remember recently heard it. And it was an amazing definition of humility. None of you think it's a behavior pattern, but it's an attitudinal pattern. In a sense, it means we feel, we realize or we accept there is no other shelter than Krishna. Everything rests on Krishna. We can't do anything without Krishna's mercy. And so this is humility. Like Arjuna, killing people left, right, and center on the battle of Kurukshetra, would you call that humility? I mean, from a normal perspective? Probably not. Oh, Arjuna was very humble. He killed 20 million people on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He shot. Who did he kill? Somebody he killed very strangely. You could say, almost against the principles of warfare. They weren't even on a chariot, they were unarmed. Karuna. He shot him. I mean, the guy with Karuna, his personality, he got down from his chariot to fix the wheel. And whilst he was down there, the wheel got stuck in the mud. Stuck in the mud? And whilst he was down, Arjuna shot him. That's not an act of humility, surely. Is it? A lot of people who don't understand devotional service think that. They like Karuna more than Krishna, more than Arjuna. When I first read the Mahabharata, actually, I was more inclined towards Karuna than I was towards Arjuna. I thought the poor guy was like, his whole life was like, from the moment he was born, it was like, he was a victim, right? Right from the moment he was born, right? The underdog, it's so unfair. But one has to know a bit beyond material perception, what's going on, doing things. There's religious principles. Well, what's the highest religious principle? Sorry? I'm still getting used to the Scottish language. But he's not from Scotland, you're from Sunderland. More or less, but don't say that in for Sunderland.
Let's remember Krishna, remember suggestion.
Okay, that's fantastic. The purpose of all the religious principles. In the Bhagavad Gita, the purpose of all activity to remember Krishna, to never forget him. What does Krishna say in the Bhagavad Gita? The highest religious principle. Pardon? Sarvanamam Parityagya. Come on, all together.
Sarvanamam Parityagya. Aham tvam sarva pāpebhyo mokshishyami ma sucha.
But most of you know it, because this is, my brother was in London in 76, I guess. And he asked that question, and 5 or 6, I can't remember. The devotees from Germany, many had come over for the taking darshan of Srila Prabhupada, be there. And that would come every year close to London. And Prabhupada asked that question in the darshan. He said, so, what is the most essence of Bhagavad Gita? Who knows the verse? And there was a bit of silence. Maybe a shyness, maybe a ignorance. And then eventually Prithu spoke up. He was quite learned, he was quite learned amongst the devotees. And he quoted that verse. What does that verse mean? Pardon?
Abandon all rights to religion and surrender to the actual particular laws and Krishna.
Let's see. What kind of God are you following? Give up religion, he's telling you. Give up all religion. just me. I've heard that before. There's a few. I've heard people say that. Just surrender to me. I will deliver you from all sinful reactions. Don't fear. Ever heard that? One or two personalities who were. So Krishna says, give up everything. This is the highest religion, is surrender to me. This is the objective of yoga, religion. In fact, it's not just to be attached to a process. That's necessary when we're practicing. But the ultimate purpose of that is to become attached to Krishna. To be fully, whatever happens, under any circumstances, no matter what. You are my only one. Does Lord Chaitanya say in the ISKCON prayers? Who knows? In this regard, please. What do you say?
You are my worshipful Lord,
Unconditionally. You can crush me in your embrace. You can make me broken-hearted by never being present before me. You can do anything you like. He had no other, his firm faith. No other object of love other than Krishna. Everything's for Krishna, not some for Krishna, some for me. I remember on Sankirtan in Somerset, there was one devotee, I won't mention his name, he's not around now. He loves Simply Wonderfuls. We were talking about Simply Wonderfuls last night. And so it's a history. Sometimes one period of time, I think about 70 years. It's a history of Simply Wonderfuls on the street, to people on the street. And his motto was, one for you, one for me. Every time he gave one Simply Wonderful out to someone, one went in his mouth as well. He was regulated, very regulated. Extremely spaced out all the time. You can understand why. Anyway, one for you, one for me, Krishna. Where's mine? Where's my share? I gave you my money or whatever. Where's mine? No, everything, nothing belongs to Krishna. It's like we were hearing the other day. Bali Maharaj, his wife called him the very word that Prabhupada used was an agnostic fool. Yavali, the wife of Bali Maharaj, called him an agnostic fool. Why? Because he gave away all of her shoes and all of her saris. Everything, never even asked her, right? Can you imagine? Your hubby gives away all, and you come home one night, there's nothing left in the wardrobe, and it's not even a wardrobe. It's not even a house, nothing at all. Zero. And then you find out he gave you away as well. How would you feel?
Pretty bummed.
Huh?
Pretty bummed.
Pretty bummed? Yeah. If there was a frying pan lying around, you would certainly use it. Not to cook. Crack him on the head with it. What type of husband is this? He didn't even ask me. It's one thing to give it away. He never even asked me. He just gave it away without even talking to me. Of course, she was angry at her husband. I mean, that's. But she was a little different. Her anger was, let's say, chastisement of her husband was a little bit different to normal. She called him an agnostic fool. You stupid idiot. You still think you own something. You think you've given something to this boy, to his Krishna himself. And now you're proud that you fulfilled your promise. But when will you wake up, she said? When will you come to your senses? Don't you realize you never had anything to give in the first place? How can you give something that doesn't belong to you? Isn't that stupid? Normally it's considered an offense, isn't it, in society? If you go out and I don't know whose car, that car sitting over there? Who's that belong to? Who's it belong to? Pada, I'm giving you a car this morning. I'm giving you that car over there, okay? Now you're going to be happy, okay? Now I'm giving it to you. I'm very merciful. I'm very kind. Oh, such a charitable person, such a kind person. Such a humble, pious, everything. All good qualities. But is it? It doesn't belong to me. Doesn't belong to you either, by the way. I think it doesn't. Maybe not. Right? This is everyone's in the same bucket in this world, right? We all think that we're giving something, we're doing something, we're very proud. We think it's humble, you're giving it all away, you're very generous. But what do we have to give away? Arjuna thought he was very wise in coming up with all kinds of reasoning why not to fight on the battle of Kurukshetra. From a material point of view, everyone would have saluted him. Well spoken, Arjuna. Yes, don't listen to this, nasty fellow next to you there is trying to convince you to fight. Some people materially might see it like that. But Arjuna, his humility was he fully surrendered to Krishna. Now I'm completely surrendered to you to do whatever you say. This is humility. And if Krishna says, because some people misuse this, you could say argument, because they're not Krishna. But in the absolute sense, religion is coming from Krishna. It's meant to bring us back to Krishna. Dhammam tu sakshat bhagavat panitam. That's the purpose of religion. It's not to establish one's own power, one's own position, etc. It's to glorify Krishna. To come to that point of complete glory. Give up all other shelters, sometimes people would say. Give up all shelters and take complete shelter. There is no other shelter. There is no other shelter. This is the ultimate goal of yoga. To completely connect with Krishna. Not a bit here and a bit there. But completely connect with Krishna. Every breath, thought, mind, everything. Totally for Krishna. Only ever time or a little bit more practice, you could say, mercy, whatever it takes to reach that point. But that's the goal, the highest of all. The highest. It's not just meditating on Krishna, which is definitely recommended as a stage. But when one comes to that platform, what does one do? You don't simply meditate on someone if you love them. Certainly you do, but what else happens? That's not the entire scene, is it? What happens?
You serve them.
You serve them. And how do you serve them? I like pizza, Krishna, take this pizza, please, so I can eat my pizza. I have to finish the things. Sometimes there's a bit of that involved. What I like to do for Krishna. And that's a stage, but ultimately, what does it mean? I serve Krishna.
To serve Krishna favorably as he desires.
Serve Krishna favorably
As he desires.
as he desires, that's what it means. And that's the same in any relationship. Husband, wife, maybe not entirely fair of child because the child's intelligence is not developed, doesn't know what's good for it. But in general, that's the situation in any relationship. I love you, take this. But if you want to sort of really capture somebody, you have to find out what they want, not what you want. What do they want? What does Krishna want? So, Krishna wanted after this battle of Kurukshetra, he wanted after this fight, etc. And he wanted to show this principle. It's not about fighting, it's not about this or that. It's the principle of surrounding to Krishna. Yes. No matter what service we're in, whatever we're doing, trying to do that in a way which pleases Krishna. Staying in relationship with Krishna. And that's what the practice of devotion, so worshipping the deities. Give an example in relationship to the deities, how you could develop that mentality. Doing what Krishna wants, not necessarily what I do. Give an example. Yeah.
And perhaps like people who are cooking for the deities, they will keep the mana is enough and keep it for themselves.
They are wanting, they want to take the mana.
No, they won't take.
They won't. I guess they won't. They won't take the mana. Well, they may or may not take the mana for various reasons, but they're certainly not thinking while they're cooking. I can't wait for this come off the altar so I can stash away as much as I can, out of sight, out of mind, so to speak. Nobody knew that I cooked samosas and do that and everything. Stash them away. This lifestyle in such a palace, be humble for food. I don't know what that is. Maybe you've heard it before. Funniest things, quite shocking actually, when I first joined, maybe the first month or something. It was the same devotee actually. Yes, same devotee who liked to sing. He wonderful, he liked character. Certainly had a lasso with the side, that's for sure. And it was a Sunday feast. Now in Bury Place then the Sunday feast was quite spectacular. Really spectacular. During the week, prashadam was all prashadam, but it was simple. Rice, dal, chapatis every day. Breakfast was semolina pudding cooked in water with sugar and baked with maximum 10 chickpeas. So it was quite simple during the week. We were satisfied. But Sunday was spectacular. The feast on Sunday. Nowadays, I don't appreciate the Sunday feast much because all week long. Sometimes it's not often during the week. Sunday. In many cases. Sunday feast is quite stingy. Not a feast at all. That was spectacular. You start cooking the Sunday feast as soon as the previous one finished. Start meditating on what to cook. In this case, it may be to please the devotees, which is in much more important than pleasing Krishna. And meditating, then Wednesday, oftentimes you start cooking. Wednesday, Thursday, it is. The first 3 days we're begging or borrow steel boat from somewhere so we can cook at these days on that. So you go to walk to various places and beg to get the boat and get ready for Sunday. And then start cooking on Thursday, the latest for the greenhouses. We cook them on Thursday, Sunday morning. They were so, they were like, there was this little sponge ball from somewhere. It was France. Looking at them, what and we start, then the next thing is Saturday. And Thursday, we're on Sankhan. You get back straight away, you're in the kitchen, and all night cooking at that. And you cook the laddus, if you're in laddus, and chutney on Saturday. It's nice, fully bits and pieces, really kind of dry. And you put the curd, you make the curd, and sometimes you make the samosa filling on Saturday night, ready for after rush at the last moment. And also, whatever you could do, you do the night before, especially the sweet rice. That was an art unto itself. Nowadays, it's often a rushed affair. It's not properly cooked, burned. Right? Last week we were in Manchester, burned sweet rice. Last one, lukewarm, burned sweet rice. How are you going to attract anyone to Krishna consciousness? It's a Sunday feast. The dal, even the Indian person sat next to me and said, "This dal is too spicy." That was one of the regular Indian devotees. And the sweet rice burned. And I didn't ever attract anyone to Krishna consciousness like that. Okay, maybe whatever, we want that, whatever. At least we should do it with all our hearts, How am I going to do this? How am I going to help? Please Krishna, please devotee, pleasing Krishna. So with sweet rice, everything else I cook sweet rice. I start cooking the sweet vegetables. Maybe other different, I don't know. I was trained by female. So we start at about 8 or 9 o'clock at night. It would be a 9-hour cooking. 9 hours. bring it to the boil. I'm not going into the details of the ingredients, but the principle is bring it to the boil very carefully, and and of course, if there's any sign of sticking or whatever, we can transfer it. Generally, that would be the sort of hand. And when it's brought into the boil, and we've got the basic ingredients, rice and milk. Sometimes you have to put some other things in, sometimes they go in later. And then you bring it to the boil and you keep it on all night on the oven. All night. So, after midnight. 5 o'clock in the morning, and you wouldn't touch it all night long. It's on such a low turnover. Boom, 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 all night long. The art with the right temperature. Boom, boom. And it would cook down to a creamy, and the rice would be like translucent. You could sort of like suspend it. Also, like the rice is, it's not just sweet rice, the rice is at the bottom. And there's this milk, and sweet milk on top, where it's not properly cooked, or it's overcooked, or whatever it is, But just perfectly translucent. And the rice is like suspended all the way through. And then you put whatever else you made, or you put it in. We would often make strawberry sweet rice. The nicest one of all is orange sweet rice. Orange sweet rice. It's a real one. I used to love this one. Then you have to put the sweet rice into deep freeze, in the winter we put it in the lake at Karuna and churns, so it was really icy. Then later, and then in the morning, you have to group it together, taking out each and every globule of the oranges, or each and every one separate. You know what I mean? The little sachets. Take quite a while, we do it in class. And then when the quick rice, if you put it when it's hot, let it curdle. If it's hot. Sometimes it curdles. So when it's cold, it doesn't curdle. You put that in there. It's cold. It's like, you can't do that. It's not had that since probably the same. Who's got the sort of time to do these things now? But there's a whole meditation, a whole preparation. Everything just perfect. So this one feast in certain very place, Jaya Prabhu, you don't probably never heard when the oldest boys in the chef was cooking a feast, and everybody knew. He was from Pakistan, Father disciple. And he was expert cook. He had quality above quantity. Now the expert has both, but he was expert, but he had quality first. He could also cook quantity, but generally speaking, there was always a risk that there wouldn't be enough quantity, because his cooking was so good. He always wanted more and more and more. He was such a good cook. He was amazing. He's still around. And that day, there was this was serving in the basement. You have to queue up. They keep the door of the basement locked. It's a small room, very small. And like 30 boys around there try to eat there for shop. And we all have to wait outside. If you've ever been to an Indian ticket office in the old days, you know what I mean. You're at the front of the queue, and when that gate opens to the ticket office, you're on the ground, flat. And so like that, as soon as the door opens, all hell broke loose. Running to get to the front of the queue, So I wasn't that tight, I was always at the back. That enthusiasm that others have. And so I was at the back, right at the back. They had a Sunday feast lunchtime for the devotees, and then again for the guests at night. So I was at the back, and there was this devotee, wonderful, I love it. But he was very prasad addict, he really lived for prasad. Sustaining it. He was just a couple in front of me, in the queue, he didn't get him early enough. And I could see him, he was starting to shake. The queue was like still 5 or 6 people in front. There was like 4 gulags left. He was running out. What's wrong there? We were panicky, you know. The rice was fantastic. You wouldn't just cook rice. It was always a minimum push time rice. Minimum push time rice. You know, curd balls, cashews, and whatever else you could get. You know. And that alone was like a feast. And he was getting closer and closer. And then we got right. And there's another devotee. I'm hesitant to mention their names because you know some of these persons. But another devotee serving who was, like I say, one of the most extraordinary persons I ever could imagine became Krishna consciousness. Only other one I can imagine was me. But he was an incredible personality. And, you know, he couldn't get past him. He was like deadpan. And he was serving, doing his service. And he particularly was serving the gulags and samosas. That was his arrangement. He couldn't talk him out of it. And when this devotee suddenly reached the end of the queue, there were no samosas, no gulags. And he was heartbroken. Oh, this is not fair! This is not fair! Where's the gulags? Where's the samosas? Three not of peace to me. The ISKCON Prabhu, humbler than the straw in the street. I didn't take it very well. I'll bet you got a samosa and a gulag stacked or whatever. Mind your own business. It was building up here. It was building up. Only 2 of us reminded me, we were watching. Everyone else was in the room or out of the room with their plates, happy enjoying their samosas and gulags. And there he was, the poor fellow, you know, we were together at the same time, he wasn't even initiated. And the poor boy didn't have any samosas and gulags. 4 weeks long waiting for this. You can imagine that was terrible. I said, and they said, I'll bet you got some. He said, mind your business. And then what the servers used to do, they would stash their plates before they started serving. And they would put like a box on top of it so no one could see it. And they said, I bet that's no plate under that box, isn't it? Keep your hands up. And he just pushed himself and got the box out. 4 gulags, 4 samosas. Get your hands up. No, yes, no. Boom, bang, bang, boom, bang, boom. They're rolling across the floor, belting each other. Loving exchanges and they're ultimate. Pure devotional service. Unmotivated. Uninterrupted. Good drama. Anyway, I don't know how we got on that. But in meditating on devotional service, in the beginning stages, it might not be completely unmotivated and uninterrupted, but still that determination to start service. The first class yogi is he who controls his senses and detaches himself from quick activities by always thinking of the Lord. Oh yes, there are lots of samosas are one kind of form of Krishna. You can see it. We fought for Krishna. Somehow in all our activities we become conscious of Krishna. If we're not conscious of me, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita in the 18th chapter, what do you say? No, Bhagavad Gita, no, heard of Bhagavad Gita. Sometimes at some stage of life we forget the Bhagavad Gita. I read that before. Have you got anything more advanced or more interesting to say about the children? But one day we might become children again. So engage in all kinds of activities. My devotee under my protection reaches the eternal and imperishable imperishable abode by my grace. In all activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, and not hearing me, you will be lost. You can apply that to chanting japa also. You can apply it to any service. It's not about just doing our thing. You have to hear Krishna. How, in whatever I'm doing, now this book please Krishna. You have to hear. You don't know. You have to hear from someone who knows. So, what does Krishna want? This way, we can conquer over our false ego. We were saying about the days. That's one error. Cooking for the days. We don't just cook what we want. In some situations, have food for all, or with children or something, there's an element of obviously preparing. Like for instance, yesterday was Kaddish, and probably in my part, and they were doing food for life. And it was a Kaddish. The Prophet asked the devotees, so what are you preparing for the public today? And they started saying, we're preparing, what do you call it, someone eat this sago stuff? Sabudana, and some turkey and something. I said, no. He said, khichdi. You have to prepare khichdi. They don't know what this is. They don't want to eat this. You've got to make khichdi, but Prophet is a Kaddish. I said, no, khichdi for the public. He wasn't into this fanaticism. He was into, giving mercy to everyone. For the devotees that were practicing, of course, we follow Kaddish. It's not the law. It block the flow of Krishna consciousness, niyama agraha. So if you don't hear what Krishna says, or the pure devotees say, what do you want? Simple as that. And unfortunately, we listen to our minds a lot. Or the minds of somebody else, some other desire that is the same Krishna's desire. Our own perspective, our own desires, etc. If you do not act according to my direction and do not fight, then you will be false. If you're acting according to one's condition or materialistic perspective of right and wrong. By your nature, you will have to be engaged in warfare, even if you don't fight. Your nature will drive you to it with a wrong conscience. Under illusion, you are now declining to act according to my direction, but can tell by the work born of your own nature, you will act all the same with so whatever it is, you can be forced to act according to nature, so why not do it in that? Why not do it in consciousness of Krishna? Hare Krishna. Be conscious of Krishna. So that's where Jnana is. Developing this remembrance of Krishna, this consciousness of Krishna. First he gets chanted the name, got delivered, was given a chance to cultivate devotional service, pure devotional service, and now in Bhagavad he is practicing pure devotional service, and he comes to this point, and we heard last time the group lines the similar thing, and now he's focused on form. When the mind is focused on the form of the Lord, I don't be focused on anything else. Not a matter of just no to everything else, a matter of molding our lives in such a way that we can remember Krishna and that Krishna will remember us. Okay, we're very over time. Everyone's stomachs are rumbling after the car yesterday, and I don't know how to fight in the Prashad room because of another mountain. The intelligent devotees, I saw a few leave earlier. It's offered, and they've already intelligently gone out. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. The session maybe be here, maybe when we choose to ask questions and answers in the evening. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Suryananda Maharaj ki.
Tonight is Friday, it's dinner time night. Karuna.
o'clock or 6:30? 6?
What time?
6 p.m.
Good.
During the whole school.
Good man.
6:30 for Karen.
7:30. 6 till 7:30. Okay.